Joined now by Steve Palazzolo. Always good to catch up with Steve, Pro Football Focus senior analyst. He just released his latest mock draft where he has Lamar Jackson heading to the Arizona Cardinals. We're going to get into that with Steve. And also where all these quarterbacks are going to land. Let's just start out, Steve, off the top. As you're sitting here today talking, give me through the first 4 picks and what you're hearing around the league with draft day just about 3 weeks away.
I'm hearing a lot of smoke and mirrors, I think, at this point. It's tough to really nail down exactly what's going to happen. I know what I would do, and I'm a big Baker Mayfield fan and big fan of Sam Darnold. I think those should be the top 2 guys off the board, followed by Josh Rosen. I do have a feeling it's going to be Darnold to the Browns, which then gives the Giants that next decision of, is it Rosen? Do they trust Mayfield? Do they like Josh Allen? A lot of rumors that they're not going to go quarterback. And then, of course, the Jets, to me, I think it's either between Rosen or Mayfield at that point. And then I don't know if Josh Allen ends up going in the top 3 like a lot of people expect. Perhaps he ends up going, 5 to Denver, or maybe he ends up dropping just a little bit. So a lot of different ways that it can go. I mean, this is really one of those classes where there's a ton of first-round quarterbacks, and every team is going to have them ranked a little bit differently.
All right, so in terms of number 2, let's just focus on 2. Cardinals trading up with the Giants, Buffalo trading up with the Giants. At Pro Football Focus, you go through the analytics side of things, break guys down. Does it make sense for the Cardinals to move all the way up from 15 to 2? Hefty price tag, probably number 1 this year for sure, number 1 next year for sure, and more to it than that. Is it worth it for these quarterbacks?
I think it's always risky, trading up for a quarterback. I think there's 3 guys I feel pretty good about building a team around when it comes to, Mayfield, Darnold, and Rosen. I feel good about maybe a Lamar Jackson and a Mason Rudolph. Mm-hmm. Not as good as I feel about those top few, and I think there's a lot of risk with, say, a Josh Allen. So I think if you go get one of those top 3 guys in my world, it's Mayfield, it's Darnold, and it's Rosen. You can see the payoff. The risk there, though, if you're the Cardinals or the Bills or any team trading up, is just understanding that your roster is probably going to get worse before it gets better.
Right.
And I know we've seen teams in recent years, the Rams and the Eagles, they've been able to mitigate that a little bit through some shrewd free agent moves and coaching changes with the Rams. That certainly helps. But for the most part, when you make that move, you give up future first-round picks, you give up a lot of your draft capital. The roster is going to get worse before it gets better. And if you're okay in understanding that just in order to get your guy, then I do think it's worth it, especially if you're getting one of those top 3 guys.
One other question before I let you go, and that is on Lamar Jackson. The mom being the one that's representing him and telling him to do this and to do that, not do as many things. How much of that is in the lying season that we're in right now? You know this, I know this, where agents are lying, teams are lying, everybody's lying before we get up to the day where the card is pulled. How much of that is fact or fiction versus what you're hearing around Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think – I'd like to think that the words and the buzz and the stuff that the media is talking about doesn't truly affect what's happening in NFL draft rooms.
Right.
I can't imagine that in an NFL draft room where a bunch of guys have just in isolation evaluated all of these quarterbacks, I can't imagine that they're being terribly influenced by, media speculation and did he throw here and did he throw there. I mean, there's enough film to watch and make a judgment on these guys. And the thing I keep coming back to with Lamar, you have to understand his strengths and weaknesses. The obvious strength is the athleticism, but he can also make special NFL throws.
Right.
The weakness, though, is he just doesn't throw the ball accurately on a throw-for-throw basis. So he's going to miss a lot of throws. He's not going to be the most polished passer right off the bat, but there's an offense to be built around him. And if you're willing to build that offense around him, let him run a little bit, build play action off that to create some easy throws, and he can go through reads and make downfield throws, not as well as anybody in the class, but he's up there. So there's a path to success with Lamar. There are some big plays to be made both down the field and with his running ability. And I'd like to think that a lot of the, postseason, draft nonsense isn't a big factor when it comes to his overall evaluation.
Yeah, the noise, I call it, right? The noise all around him.
Plenty of it.
Good stuff. Thanks for the time, as always.
Yep, you got it. Thank you.